Hi, this is Michael.
And this is Steven, and we are the Movie Bros. Well, today for our finale of Scream Fest 2021, we have the one and only Killjoy Jake joining us. Hi, Jake.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. It's a real pleasure to have you on our finale of Scream Fest. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited to talk about new upcoming Scream movie and just like the franchise in general, man. It's exciting stuff to talk about.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But Mike, you have something to talk about first, don't you?
I do. If you love the Scream franchise, click the like button and on the video. And if you like to see more of our content, click the bell notification and also hit subscribe. And you'll be notified for our upcoming content. Also, look in the description below. You'll see our social media, merch store, and Patreon page links. And finally, a quick shout out to all our patrons. We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Also, in the description below, you'll see links for Killjoy Jake's channel.
That's right. You must visit it after this video is over. You're going to love it. We'll talk more about it later, but yes, it's a must see.
Yes.
And Jake, as you would say on your channel, so like and subscribe, or the release of Scream 5 will be delayed until 2030.
Yes, I can make that happen. So
That's right. Jake has the connections, so look out, guys. You better do it. Well, listen, guys, I thought just to kind of start us off, we'd talk a bit about kind of overall about Scream 5 or Scream 2022. Listen, we know it's not Scream 5 for everyone. Don't freak out. We know that. But we're also going to call it Scream 5. So it's just deal with it. It's what we're going to do. Okay. No hate mail. We know it's Scream 5, Scream 22. Anyway, just joking. But let's just talk quickly here, kind of like the cast. We have, of course, some of this news you've all heard, but it's important that we kind of recap it and keep it in context. So we're excited to see finally that all of the legacy cast signed on a few months back. And it was a little concerning at first because we saw David Arquette sign up. And for a while, it was just David, which was like, that's cool. But then finally they announced Gail, which they may have had it locked up, but you know how it goes. Sometimes they don't want to reveal it too close together. But anyway, so they came on board, and then finally we're like, where's Sydney? Where's Nev? And we were sweating. I don't know if you guys, I was sweating it out. I was like, they have to bring her back, you know?
it was way longer. It was like way longer for them to announce that than the other two. I was sweating bullets.
Oh, me too. It was like, please, you have to do whatever you have to do. And then finally, I remember like reading the article, I think when it came out, it said Nev Campbell has announced that she's going to return to Sydney. And when you find out why, it was really, really cool how she received the letter. Remember, Jake, she got the letter from the directors, and they really kind of poured their heart out to her and said, hey, look, we are Wes fans. And because she was really hesitant to do it without Wes, understandably. And they said, look, we're his biggest fans, man. We grew up on his movies. He's why we want to do this. Got into horror films. And anyway, after that letter, I think that she was like, okay, I want to see what you've got. I think after seeing the idea for the film, she was sold, and she came back, which immediately, I don't know about you guys, but immediately gave me a goosebumps, if you will, because horror bumps, if you will, because I figured this: if she's coming back, this has to be a good movie. I don't believe she would return for a bad film. I just don't. Any of those three, I don't think would. Wouldn't you agree with that? I also don't think that's.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really important character to not just Nev Campbell, but to Courtney Cox and David Arquette.
Yes.
These people love coming back and playing these characters, and they don't want to just they don't want to just make some remake, some rehash of something from the past. They want to do something fresh, original, and fun. And I think that's exactly what this is going to be. I love the Radio Silence guys. They have an amazing track record. I don't know if you've seen their other movies, but
I did see Ready or Not, which I was pretty impressed with that.
That's probably my favorite thing that they've done so far, and that's their last movie that they made before this. So like they're at their peak right now. So the fact that they're doing another Scream movie, hell yeah! Like I'm all about it.
Absolutely, man. And you know what? There's another legacy cast that I'm going to group her into legacy because that's being technically correct. I don't consider her like what we would all say as full blown legacy, but let's just say Marley Shelton she is coming back as Judy Hicks, the deputy, Judy Hicks. So that is a legacy because she was in Scream 4. So be it a smaller supporting kind of role, but they did bring her back also. So that was cool to see a continuation of where that's going to go, which we'll talk about a little bit later in our rumors section. And then we've got, guys, Jake, you've seen it, a lot of great new people, don't we? Just
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, where do you begin? Right, Jenny Ortega, Melissa Barrera, Jack Quaid, who just was fantastic in that show. I mean, and it's totally slipping my mind.
The Boys.
Thank you, The Boys.
Yeah.
Yes, my gosh, The Boys. I thought he was fantastic there. And,
oh yeah.
And then Dylan Minette's in it, and there's so many more, right? We could go on a Rolodex of people.
Oh yeah.
Film. But you know what? It keeps the tradition, doesn't it? Because every Scream film, especially starting in 2, after the first one was so amazing, everyone wanted to be in it, right? Remember Sarah Michelle Gellar and all the really the hip stars of that time wanted to be in it, and we've seen it through Scream 4 as well. All the Lacey and all those people that came aboard, and so this kind of fits the tradition. Everyone wants to be a part of it, and that's good for us as fans, right?
Oh yeah.
We'll take that. And then also, the last thing we'll mention here, then Jake, I'm going to kick it over to you for a little bit, is that the film began production in September of 2020, and post-production wrapped in early July 2021. Was as you diehard Scream fans like us know, we got all the great Instagram pictures, and we got all the announcements that post-production was done, then final music editing was done, and sound effects. And then they finally said, what, on Hello City, the movie's wrapped and ready to roll. Remember that in early July, about a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. And so it is set for January 14th, 2022 release. And I'm not going to say the name of that thing that's going around for the last year, but hopefully that will not influence or push back this release date. But also, this movie was filmed a lot, primarily, I believe. I don't know if everything was there, but it primarily was filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina. And Jake, you actually have visited many of these film sites, and there's a video of it on his channel, guys. You got to check it out. So, Jake, tell us the experience, man, of seeing these places in person.
Well, it was a lot of fun, man. First of all, just to drive with my buddy down to Wilmington, North Carolina. It's a beautiful city. It's right by Wrightsville Beach too, which is that beach where we saw the cast members hanging out. It was that same beach. Okay. Absolutely gorgeous. I didn't know too much about Wilmington, but like I talked to a lot of the locals. They were telling me like a bunch of movies get filmed here all the time, but something about like the governor's been passing all these like laws. I'm not trying to get political or nothing, but right. I guess he's been passing all these laws about like just not making it super easy for these filmmakers to come there and make movies. So it hasn't been like super crazy over the past couple of years. But they just filmed the new Scream there. They just filmed the like scenes from the new Halloween Kills, which I'm actually thinking about going back to Wilmington and doing a locations video for that if I'm not completely broke in a month.
There you go.
But no, it was awesome, man. I mean, just seeing these places from like the set photos, like I used a HelloSydney.com article. They're wonderful, by the way. The guy that runs that, he's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Love it.
Used one of their articles just to go to all the filming locations. You can see that in the video. It was so cool. I actually learned some stuff from a local who he wants to remain anonymous. But he did tell me like that one of the locations for Scream 5 was also used for Halloween Kills, which was really cool. I kind of talked about that in the video as well. Yeah. So we got that in the video. That was really cool. It was a fun time. Just check out that video if you want to see the whole experience.
and it wasn't like it was just down the street either. That was like a nice 11-hour drive, right?
Yeah, from Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah.
That's dedication, man. I'm telling you, it was quite impressive. You guys definitely need to watch the video. And I remember when I was watching, I'm like, man, Jake goes the extra miles. This is what other people aren't willing to do. He's doing it, guys. And I was like, this is it's just fantastic. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that video, man.
Thank you. I'm so glad you liked it, man.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Well, awesome. All right. Michael, what are your general facts about the movie?
All right, Scream 5 2022 is directed by Matt Bettinelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette. otherwise known as Radio Silence.
Yes.
The two writers on Scream 5 are Guy Busick,
Yeah.
who wrote the 2018 horror film Ready or Not, which was also directed by Matt and Tyler, who are also directing Scream 5 or Scream 2022. James Vanderbilt, writer for the upcoming Transformer Rise of the Beasts movie, and recently wrote for Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston film Murder Mystery and several other big projects. One executive producer is the great Kevin Williamson. He wrote almost all the Scream movies except for one. Besides, he was
Scream 3 when
he didn't write for Scream 3,
right?
But he was excited to join this project and said it was very, very good. So
that's another point that you brought up, because not only do we have the legacy cast join, which gave us credibility outside of Matt and Tyler's already reputation, but the fact that Kevin Williamson, and we're going to talk more about this in a little bit, real soon, joined as well was huge to me. I thought that was a really big deal because, the worst Halloween movie in my book is Resurrection. When it was, I don't know what you feel about it, Jake, but it was just in the worst kind of sense. And, that was a movie we were talking about earlier, how we don't believe this cast, they care too much about Wes and this film to come back to a bad movie, and nothing against Jamie Lee Curtis, but to return only to be killed, spoiler alert, only to be killed in the first 5 minutes in just such a throwaway manner, like just discarded her like it was. I mean, that's what I'm like. If I saw that in this movie, I would absolutely.
Hey, man.
I would, yeah. Man, yeah. I would. It would be a total meltdown, but. Anyway, I just don't think that's going to happen in this one, though. But I had to reference that.
No, I mean, like they just said in that interview with Hello Sydney, they're like, it's not Scream without these main characters. Like that is a huge factor in these movies. So I don't think they're going to do that. Like, did y'all see Terminator Dark Fate? Did y'all see that movie? It's like the latest Terminator movie.
No, I did not see the latest.
Not yet.
Oh man, I mean, y'all mind if I spoil that for you?
No,
go for it.
I mean, it's not worth watching in my opinion. Anyways,
well,
they kill John Connor off like right off the bat, like kid John Connor from the second movie, because it's a direct continuation to that one. I just don't like. I lost interest after that. Like I was completely done with the movie after the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do that. They might have like Dewey sacrifice himself at the end or something for the rest of the people, but they're not going to give us a shock death like that right at the beginning. I don't think.
I hope not. Oh my gosh. And Dewey's a survivor, man. That guy's been stabbed. He's had more ligaments ripped in half of the knife. That guy, anyway, but yeah, I'm with you, man. I just don't see it either. I think it would be not a good move for it would lose a lot of people if they did that. Yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to move to the Scream 5, the facts. And Jake, why don't you lead us off on facts for the Scream 5 movie?
Yeah. Well, like you guys said, we have a bunch of returning cast members. Like obviously the mainstays. We got like Neve Campbell, David Arquette. We got Courtney Cox. We also got Marley Shelton coming back as Judy Hicks from the fourth movie. We also have Heather Matarazzo is coming back to play Martha Meeks again, Randy's sister, which is really interesting. Real interesting move there. Definitely sparking some rumors for me for sure. And then I can't remember the actor's name at the moment, but the guy who plays Joel in the second film is also coming back.
Oh, yes. The cameraman in Scream 2. Is he coming back as well?
He's coming back too, which is awesome. Nice. I think that's dope. Yeah.
He was so smart to actually get the cab, and you probably heard that story, and it's in our Scream 2 Screamfest video. But, Wes Craven was originally supposed to die. Joel was supposed to be killed. And he went to Wes and said, man, look, is there any, he says, look, people of my ethnicity don't live in these movies. He said, would you work with me and let me just call a cab and let me leave? And Wes was like, I'm okay with that. So they wrote it in, and he leaves in the cab, but he comes back. Remember?
Yeah. He is coming back for this. And Scream 2.
In Scream 2, he comes back at the very end. And but the fact that he's coming back now, that's great to know, man. That could be real interesting to see what his role is going to be and what where he is now, right?
Right. Lots of fueling a lot of rumors, of
Yes.
course. A lot of theories
Ooh.
there.
Ooh, we're gonna get to those later. I can't wait to hear them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The other thing is in the set photos we got released, we also see Stu's house is definitely making a comeback, looking exactly like how it did in 1996.
Yes.
So I don't know if we're doing flashbacks. I don't know if we're just going back. Maybe Stu's house is still around. It's a ghost house, whatever. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Once again, rumor fuel.
Yes, it's big time. I know, absolutely, because there's so many questions. Like, obviously, if the house is there, then it begs the question: Is Stu gonna be there somewhere? Is there? I mean, and again, I know we're jumping ahead just a little bit, but I'll save it. We're getting there. We're getting there. But that's very good point. I mean, that's dude. All right.
And I mean, yeah, pretty much like there's not like a whole lot we know. Like there's little tidbits like this here and there. There's also that the re-release coming in October. They're releasing some kind of behind the scenes featurette for the film, like beforehand. So we're getting something in October confirmed. Like I'm not 100% sure if that's a teaser trailer, just a behind the scenes little feature, something.
Yep.
But in October, we can elaborate a little more on this facts portion. Though.
Yes, that is for sure. And actually, I wouldn't want it any other way. Would you? Because
I don't want to know too much. I want to go into his blind, honestly. Yeah.
I do too. And as much as I am, we're the movie bros, we do reactions and stuff. But I'm telling you, after the teaser trailer comes out, when they release the quote full official trailer, the long one, a part of me just wants to not watch it. It's going to take all of my willpower to not watch it because I want to, but I also don't want to. It's going to be like, I don't know. I'm like one thing at a time, right? Let's just get the teaser out whenever that's going to be. Maybe it is October. It certainly might be October.
I 100% agree. Like part of me doesn't want to watch the trailer, even like the teaser, because I've never I'm a younger guy. I haven't been able to see a Scream film in the theaters, unfortunately. Like I was like 12 or 13 when Scream 4 came out. So I probably, I wasn't even allowed to go to the theaters and see it by myself then. I do want to go into this as blind as possible. Like I sometimes you hear about like things get leaked on Reddit or whatever. And please don't tell me anything about that. I want to go into this blind. I want to be shocked, Yeah. And Radio Silence. I love them. They, like I said before, they have a great track record. I know this is going to be good. I'm predicting that. So
absolutely. Yeah.
I just want to be shocked.
Want to be shocked. Yeah, me too. And I, with all of the history that the Scream is notorious for with script leaks with 2 and 3, and how much of a frustration that was for Wes and Kevin, because it was constant rewrites. Even the day they're filming, they're writing it. And it just people do that. They ruin what the filmmakers want to do. And I think the fact that what did Tyler say? And they said that they did like 3 or 4 or 5 endings they have of Scream 5 that are out there. They filmed them. And they wrote them so that the actors themselves don't even know if the ending they saw or in is going to even the one that's going to come out.
So that they can't even say like, oh, this could happen. No one can accidentally leak it. Yeah.
No,
it's brilliant. Yeah.
It really is, man. It's so smart. That's smart on their part. And so thankfully the facts are minimum. And to your point, I hope they stay that way because I just less is more for Scream. Yeah.
Oh yeah. 100% agreed.
All right. Michael, what about you, man? What are some facts you found out?
Well, I found out that a lot of the fans are kind of like nervous for this movie coming out. They're especially since Wes and Kevin Williamson are not the writer-director team for the film. And also since, Scream 4 was actually the lowest grossing movie in the Scream franchise. It's supposed to be released in January, and that's known as the dump month in the film industry, which means that it tends to be a month where studios dump their films that are known either that won't perform or aren't very good, which I doubt very seriously this will happen, but, I don't think that Sydney and Gail and Dewey would join in if it's not going to be a great movie to honor Wes's memory. Also, it's not a reboot or a sequel, but a new franchise, according to Courtney Cox. And a lot of people were like wondering what that might mean. and a lot of fans aren't liking the name Scream as the name of the movie because there's 1996 movie Scream. So because a lot of the horror films like Halloween and Candyman have come back with a reboot, with the same name, and a lot of people don't like that. But
yeah,
I think that their thoughts will be unfounded. I think that they'll come out and they'll rock it. So
yeah, definitely. And I mean, I struggle with, I struggle when I heard the name is not going to be Scream 5. I know it's probably I'm making more of a big deal of it than it probably is, but I try to understand, why are you doing it this way? And knowing that I think what Courtney was talking about, what you just alluded to, was that and even in this Hello Sydney interview last week, Jake, remember, they were alluding to the fact that they're making a movie that is a Scream film that anyone could walk into and appreciate and enjoy it. But also, if you know the previous 4, you're gonna love it. They've crammed so many Easter eggs, and they were making, like, some are indirect references to Wes, some are direct references. I don't know how they're gonna all do it, but basically, it's like a new movie, but also a familiar movie. So
like very similar to like Halloween 2018, how they did that. Like how it's like you can walk into that without having seen any of the movies, without even having seen the original, and you could just walk into that and enjoy it. I think I feel like this is going to be that same vibe. Like I know some fans of like the Halloween franchise were a little like upset that there was just so much explaining. I don't think there was like a whole bunch of explaining in that movie. I don't think it was so much to the point where it was annoying. I thought it was enough to get you there if you had never seen it before. And I feel like they're going to do the same thing with the new Scream film. Like it's going to be the same thing. Like sure, you're going to get the explanation of, like, you're gonna have to explain 4 movies opposed to just one, like Halloween 2018. So there's that. But I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I don't think it's gonna be that annoying to longtime fans. Maybe people who are really picky, but I don't know. It's not gonna bother me personally.
No, just the fact that we've got the legacy cast in this movie, that makes it Scream 5, because they're the legacy. It's their story. It's Sydney's story, and obviously it's gonna be a new story too. So you're going to see a new story introduced to us, but Sydney's story hasn't gone away. It's still there. She's still there. So I'm just very excited to see how, and we'll talk more about this in our predictions and stuff in a minute, but how they intertwine these together in a cohesive way that lends itself to more sequels. Because this is building up for more to come. So that's going to be interesting to see, and speaking of which, one of the facts about this, one of the few things we know is the brief synopsis that came out like a year ago, maybe even longer. It just says this is going to follow a woman returning to her hometown to try and find out who has been committing a series of vicious crimes, and that's all we have. And I hope we don't get any more till it comes out. But who is the woman? I always assumed it's Sydney coming back to her hometown, but we'll talk about it in rumors in a minute, but not necessarily. It could be one of our new characters coming back home, also. But one thing we do know, gentlemen, is that it does take place in Woodsboro, right? We've seen the pictures, the police cars, and Jake, in your video, you went by where the police station is going to be or was in the movie.
Yeah.
And we have that picture online of the glass doors that you show in the video that has the decal of Woodsboro Police Station, police station. I think it is. But we know it's in Woodsboro, and we had the Leaving Woodsboro sign that was posted by HelloSydney.com a year ago, or no, it wasn't a year ago. It was like in February. And then Stu Macher's house is back, as you alluded to, Jake. So we know they're there. We know where it's going to happen at. But it's interesting to see how Stu's house is going to play into this. Like we talked about, is it going to be someone new living in the house now, and it's like a deja vu, or is it literally a flashback recreated scene? We'll have to wait and see, right? But one thing we've all talked about that I consider it as to be a fact is that Radio Silence team, they do care about the franchise, and every interview that I've read and have heard, it just does make me more confident and excited that this is going to be done well, and it's going to be something that we're going to all enjoy. I'd be real nervous right now if if we had some kind of like a Oliver Stone kind of situation going where conspiracy theories are bright everywhere, and I'd be nervous. But
or the Blumhouse productions.
yeah, I mean, Blumhouse does pretty good, but sometimes they anyway, that's another story. They put out some stinkers, but overall, they're usually okay. But one thing though, I just want to read really quickly, guys, from an interview that was on Collider's website that Matt and Tyler did. I think it was in November, so it's a few months. It's been quite a while. But one thing I thought was awesome is that how they really do care about Kevin Williamson and Wes. So they set up a meeting when this project was greenlighted to have a meeting with Kevin Williamson at the very beginning. And Matt and Tyler both met with him. And I'm going to read a quote. So I usually don't read when I do these things, but I want to just read this. He said, "The first thing that we did," this is Matt and Tyler, "was to go out to Kevin and bring him into the process. It's not about a once over. His approval means everything." He said, "Let's be clear. He's the reason we're all here, making sure that we're doing it right for Wes and for the fans." And regarding the script for the film, he says, "When we pitched Kevin Williamson the original idea, he gave us his thoughts." This is interesting, guys. He gave us his thoughts on the pitch, and that's what we went and did. So I thought that was very revealing because, obviously Kevin's not writing it, but he gave them feedback on the script and his ideas on the script. And he says, that's what we went and did, what Kevin suggested. Now, that's pretty cool, huh, Jake? Huh?
Yeah, that, they say like the executive producer title is something that you just kind of throw around in the film industry. Usually what that means is just like, oh, he actually was like part of the creative process. He's running around doing stuff over here, over there. He's wearing many hats, I think is what Kevin Williamson's doing. I definitely think he influenced the story, maybe the direction too, whatever, because he's part of that team, and we forget about that with Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson. They were the two that made Scream together, and to have him on board, if he wasn't on board and he's like still alive, obviously we lost Wes Craven back in 2015, rest in peace. But I feel like if he wasn't on board, I would be very skeptical about this film. I'm a lot more, I feel a lot more safe with the sequel. The fact that he had some kind of creative input to it, has had some kind of control over the film, I'm sure. Yeah, it definitely makes me feel a little better. I think it's going to be much closer in tone to those original three movies, which I know a lot of people want to get back to. Scream 4 kind of diverges a little bit, maybe in a more negative way, while also taking some like unique risks, like they talk about in that Hello Sydney what was it, that interview? I can't think of the word interview, but
yeah, absolutely. And another thing too, they really do care about Wes. I know we talked a little bit earlier about, how much they care about his legacy. And so that it's important to know that these guys do take this serious. They're thinking about us as Scream fans, and as they themselves are Scream fans, as they've said repeatedly. And so it's going to be kind of neat to see someone writing or not necessarily writing, but being in the creative process and directing this that are fans, a fan of the actual series they're doing, not just a hired gun who he doesn't care about any of the other movies. He's just hired to do this one. This is different. And so, man, I just, not to sound redundant, but I'm very excited about these guys doing the project. And to your point, if Williamson had said no, they offered it to me to be involved, but I passed, I'd be like sounding the check engine lights are going off everywhere,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It felt like something was missing out of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And even Kevin himself said that this movie really does a great job of honoring Wes Craven, and that's coming from his mouth. So that carries a lot of weight.
Did you guys, like, a little off topic, but did you guys see the 2019 Child's Play?
No, I did not see that one.
That one was another one where Don Mancini was asked to be a part of it. Like, once again, the executive producer title, some kind of creative control over the project. And he declined because it was so astray from what his original vision was. It's, if you have seen the movie, it's just a totally different idea. It's not even Chucky anymore. And he declined. He was like, he's not interested. They didn't have him on. They didn't give him a credit, nothing. And that is, I don't love that movie. It's fine. It's got some great kills. That is worth a watch. I'll say that, but it's not Chucky, you know. And that's how I would feel about a new Scream if it didn't have Kevin Williamson, essentially.
Yes, absolutely. And I imagine the result would be about the same as that. Yeah, I would expect. Now, one last thing I want to mention just real quick about Wes Craven and how they're honoring his legacy. I want to read one more time, and I promise this is the last time I'm going to read a quote. But I thought it was worth reading. I thought it's a lot of value in this, I think. So they were being interviewed in Collider again. And one of the things they were talking about regarding Wes is they said that one of the things Wes did that we have implemented and learned from well is that he made a real point of making sure within each scene there was always a misdirect. There was always a red herring, even if it was subtle or subconscious almost. You think about the shoes that the sheriff was wearing in Scream 1. Remember that guy scene when he throws the cigarette down his boots, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the looks that Henry Winkler's character gave in the principal's office. A little creepy there with Sid.
Or he grabs her chin and all that.
Yeah, I know. He caresses her face. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Henry Winkler, but dude, that could be a little creepy.
And when he went off on those two guys.
Dude, it's totally, he turned the switch with the scissors on the, yeah. But the last thing he said was all of those moments just keep the audience on their toes. And it's something that we're trying to do in this one. We want to make it a true whodunit, which that's my favorite genre of movies. So that's why one of the reasons Scream was such an appeal is the whodunit. I love the mystery of it. Who's doing it?
When it's done well, it's great to talk about too. Like there's so many different directions you can go with it. It's like, it's not just a regular horror film where you're just going to see some like scary jump scares and all that. There's also like this, who's the killer the whole time. It's great. Yeah. It's something that's been done for years and it's going to probably continue because it's such an interesting thing to come back to.
It really is. And unlike, Jason and we can talk about this later in our Scream franchise discussion really, but just real quick, compared to some of these legendary horror killers, they're always there. It's just new victims. This is where we have a new killer in the costume every movie. So it's just a really cool, fresh thing. But speaking of rumors, guys, all right, now we're gonna open up Pandora's box because this movie is, it's arguably one of the most talked about online films that I've seen in years, that the buzz around this. And we see it on YouTube, right? On our channels. And it's it blows up. When you put a Scream 5 video out, to forget about it. It's just, it's gone on its own. So Jake, why don't you start us off, man? Well, what are some juicy rumors that you have unearthed?
There's like a couple things that I'm always revolving around with my rumors, like the two big things that people are either scared of happening or really excited to see happen. And like the thing that people are really excited to see happen that could happen, and I think is like not too out there, maybe with some of the characters who are dead, bringing them back to life, bringing back some dead characters. Like, I don't think it's too crazy to say that maybe Stu comes back, maybe Randy comes back. I mean, my thing about Stu, and something that's been brought up a couple of times just in like comments I've gone back and forth with people in the comment section, is they're like, Stu is the only Ghostface killer that wasn't double tapped. Where it wasn't like he came back for one last scare. That never happens. Right. Happens with Billy Loomis, doesn't happen with him in that first movie. So to have him come back, I think that would be great. Matthew Lillard is still around. He's still performing. I think it would be great to have him back as like a little twist at the end, or maybe like halfway through the movie, you get like a little twist. Oh, Stu's still alive. What's he doing nowadays? Let's find out. I think that'd be great personally. I love him. He gives such a great performance in that first movie. It was like you lose something in those sequels without him. And then especially like Randy's my favorite character. When he dies in Scream 2, that's so sad to me. I will say the one thing that is cool about his death is that he's the most knowledgeable about horror movies, and for him to get murdered in that second film makes the killers so much more scarier. Like there's no way to figure out what these guys are going to do next. You don't if you don't know who the killers are in Scream 2.
That's a good point, man. That's very good. Yeah.
For him to come back, that would be dope. I think Stu is probably the one that's the most likely. We've seen his house, as we were just talking about. like I just said, he's the only one not to get double tapped. I think that would be dope to see him come back. The other thing though that a lot of people are terrified of, and we briefly touched on this a minute ago, was killing one of the main characters.
No, don't do it.
I don't want it to happen, but I think like I could see it happening at the same time. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be one of those shock things that's going to. Personally, it's something I don't want to happen. I don't think in the relaunch of your franchise, killing one of these beloved characters is not going to bring on. Is that you might like have the new people be interested in that, but the longtime fans coming back to that are not going to be happy killing off like Dewey, Sid, or Gale.
No.
What I do think will happen though is like Heather Matarazzo's character, like Martha Meeks. Yes. She might be the opening kill. I could see that happening, honestly.
I could too.
Like there's been all that talk about Selena Gomez coming on to be the opening kill. I don't know about that. That's like either. There's no set pictures. There's nothing about that. There's this one comment on an Instagram post though with Courtney Cox replying to her saying, "Oh, I can't wait to meet you." Still don't know what the hell was up with that. Maybe she like wrote a song for the movie or something. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like if she was on set, we would have gotten some kind of picture. Is my thinking behind that?
Yeah, you think so?
Right. So like I said, I think one of these characters, if it's Martha Meeks, if it's Judy Hicks, they might be our opening kill, or they might get murdered throughout the movie. Like to keep that idea of nobody is safe.
I didn't think about Judy Hicks because it seems like they would take everybody from Scream 1, 2, and 3, and they would kill them off at the beginning, like they did with Cotton Weary in Scream 3, and that makes sense. That could be crazy.
I know, for real. And Judy Hicks, I mean, she was in Scream 4. She was really creepy, but yet also funny. But that would qualify as a legacy kill. I mean, technically, it would. But seeing these people come back, Jake, to your point, man, Stu, I am on the official sign me up for Stu Club because Mike and I share an affection for him as well. I'm telling you, he's just fantastic. And his role in Scream 1, man, that kitchen scene, just the end finale alone is so intense and funny, but in a psychotic way.
Yeah.
Right. It's silly and dark at the same time, which is great. It's such a good mix.
It is. And it feels so real. It's like, you don't feel like you're watching an actor. You feel like you see a guy who literally has lost his mind, but he's still funny. He's finding a joke, even though he's insane, and he pulls it off. He pulls it off. And I don't know if this is not Scream 5 related, but just while we're talking about it, there was an interview that really wasn't an interview. It was a Q&A that Matthew Lillard did at one of the Comic-Cons that he goes to, and signs autographs. Well, anyway, during the Q&A section for a Scream panel, he gave a story. He told a real quick story. I'm going to tell you super fast because it's not Scream 5. But he did say that one time Wes told him, I guess he was saying he was having like a rough day or something on set in Scream 1. And Wes came up to him and says, look, don't worry about this. One day you're going to win an Oscar. And he was like, whoa. He's like, Wes Craven just told me that he thinks I'm good enough to be an Oscar winner at some point in my career. He said, I got to call my mom. He said, you got to remember, I'm on set. It's 1996. The only cell phone on set is this big old box phone thing that Wes had. And he's like, Wes, I got to call my mom. And Wes picks the phone up and gives it to him. And literally, he said, my mom's not going to believe this unless you tell her. And so he calls his mom and he says, Mom, I'm on set right now with Wes Craven and he needs something to tell you. And he gives the phone to Wes and Wes tells his mom, hey, I just want to let you know your son's going to win an Oscar one day. And it was like the highlight of his life.
Oh my God.
Just a great story that many people I don't think know about because it was one he just did off the cuff. And,
I gotta watch that Q&A now. First of all, that's a great story, man. Oh my God,
that's
awesome.
But I hope he comes back.
I've always felt like Stu was I don't know why this is the only word coming to mind right now. He was like the submissive in that relationship between
He
him
was.
and Billy, you know?
Yes,
So
that's
if he
right.
comes back in any capacity, I don't know if he's going to be a villain or not. This is something I briefly discussed in like one of my videos. It might have been one where we were talking about the set pictures with like Stu's house and all that. I
Yeah.
said if he comes back, we might see like a redemption arc for him. Like maybe he's a hero this time around.
Wow.
Like
I've
maybe
thought
he
the same
feels
thing.
bad like about like just following Billy into that whole mess, which was the first movie. Maybe he feels bad and he's just been in hiding this whole time or something, and he comes back and saves the day. There's that's a bit out there for sure.
I love it though, man.
But tell me that wouldn't be cool.
He'll be like a Cotton Weary sort of kind of guy, where he like saves him at the end, you know?
Right.
Wouldn't that be great? And like you said, maybe he appears like midpoint or 3/4 into the movie. All of a sudden, Stu's out of nowhere. He hears her helping Sydney or helping the dude. It would be. I'm all for that, Jake. We need to make you president of the studio because this is the kind of stuff we need to have, man. I think that would be so great. And it would be great to see Randy and Billy, you know, and that's another question I want to bring up is, are we assuming that we're going to see prequel scenes? In other words, are they going to film scenes that were in the Scream 1 timeline that we didn't see before? They're going to make us privy to stuff that we never saw in the first movie. They're refilming that, not refilming those scenes, but new scenes. Are we going to see that? Or is it going to be something, to your point, that's maybe more current, where they're still at Stu's house, but you know, it's not 96, right?
Well, there's already, just from the cast list alone, there's a lot to unpack, which we need to maybe travel back into the past to figure some stuff out. Like, for example, I believe it's Dylan Minnette who's playing Wes Hicks?
Yes.
Which is like, so how is he related to Judy Hicks? Is he Judy Hicks' son? Is he a cousin? What's going on there? Who's the father is the question there. Is Stu the father?
Right.
Is
Stu the father,
Billy the father? You know, there's so many questions that I have there. The other thing is Kyle Gallner, if you look at just like a current picture of him, strikes a resemblance to Skeet Ulrich a lot. And his character's name is not like, we don't have a last name for him. Okay. So could it be Loomis?
True.
Could he be related to Billy? Which is something else to think about. Like, could he be the next Ghostface killer? There's that. I also got this, someone tweeted at me today, something that I'm actually thinking about doing a whole video on this, because this blew my mind when I read it today, was there's so much more to that, like the scene at Stu's party. Because if you think about it, that's the camera that Gail hides underneath the TV or whatever, there might have been more that she captured besides just the scenes that we see on it, like where Jamie Kennedy almost getting stabbed by Ghostface. There's that we see on the TV, but did it capture something else? Maybe there's a scene in the movie where she goes back and finds like that old footage and is like, oh, wait a minute, Judy Hicks was at the party and this happened, you know? Yeah, so that's something, someone tweeted that at me today, and I'm like, my mind was blown. I'm like, I have to make a whole video about this now. I got to talk about that stats.
How cool. Yeah, man, because think about, because we know she was in high school with Sydney from Scream 4. She said she was in drama class with her or whatever. And so we know they were in school together. And so that she would be in the 96 timeline, right there with Tatum and everybody else. That would be pretty incredible that there's a shot of Judy Hicks as a teenager
at the party. Like, how cool would that be, right?
Oh my gosh, it would be great.
And you find something out about that. Yeah, I think it would be dope.
Yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned Wes Hicks, and that's the big question. Who I'm assuming, again, be careful when you assume, right? We know what that means. But it could be her son. That's my first thought, is it's maybe her son. And you know, I've heard rumors like, what if Judy Hicks is one of the Ghostface killers and her son? Maybe it's a mother-son, which is kind of messed up, but maybe it's because, like you say, Stu was the father, and, you know, or Billy, and Sydney killed Billy. So now it's kind of a whole theme of revenge. I mean, there's so many theories we could come up with that could be plausible, right? I mean,
yeah.
Can they do, you know, all these back scenes and have a new cast of kids and do character development at the same time? You know, it's going to be kind of tricky in a juggling match, trying to get all that done at one time.
You'd have to have your flashbacks are going to have to be relatively quick, I would think, scenes. I mean, like, a couple of minutes. You can't spend half a movie there, because you're right. You're not gonna, if you do that, you're gonna lose the new stuff.
Mhm.
So, but there could be a little 90-second clip where we see
Yeah.
Billy and Stu going off and driving off to kill Maureen, or taking her body or something. I mean, I don't know, right? It could be.
Well, like what I was talking about, that wouldn't even be a flashback, really. Like you could have Gail going through some old stuff, like just reminiscing, and she's like, "Hey, oh, here's the camera that I used back in '96," and then she just finds some old footage of something. It's like, and you could put that halfway through the movie, and that's why they filmed at Stu's house. You have that set there for some reason. That's why they re-recorded stuff from that, and then you just see it on like a little computer monitor or some shit, something like that.
Right. That's right.
It's just Gail and Sydney watching it, and they're like, "Oh my God, this happened back then." And it's a total bombshell halfway through the movie. It's something like that. It wouldn't even be a flashback, really. That's kind of my thought there. Yeah.
That's kind of like in the Scream 2, you have Billy Loomis's mom she's been throughout the whole movie, but you didn't know who she was. And then she shows up at the very end with the gun, and there was no flashbacks or anything, and she's just like, you killed my son. So
you could do it. You could. You're right. You could do that. That would be it would be. I just hope they peel back the curtain to give us new information about Scream 1, because knowing that now we go back and watch Scream 1, we're already going to be like implementing the new into the old in our minds, like what's really going on. That would be so cool. So I will tell you what, there's a couple of rumors that I'm going to throw on the table that I absolutely, and you'll have to really kind of guess how I feel about it, despise the idea of. The first one that makes me want to vomit, is that Sidney is the killer in Scream 5. If I read another social media post and a guy's watching, I love you guys. All I do. And it's fun to talk. But listen, it's been said enough. We don't need Sidney to be the killer. This is not every movie that's come out since Scream 1. People say she's the killer in Scream 2. She's the killer in Scream 3. I don't want to see that. And what a way to, honestly, guys, this would dishonor Wes Craven's legacy. And let me tell you why I believe that. Because some people would say, "Oh, that'd be a shock." Well, maybe it'd be a shock, but all that the directors and Radio Silence team, all they've talked about is honoring Wes. This movie's for Wes, #for Wes. Well, listen, this would dishonor his legacy, because he created, in Kevin, a character in Sidney that is strong. She's a fighter. She's a survivor. And to turn that into someone who is now completely moral compass is turned, and she's now the killer. To me, that's almost, not to be too harsh, spitting on the first 4 films. That's how strong I feel about that rumor. Jake,
I wholeheartedly agree. Pretty much. My thing is, there's a big difference between shock and a twist, and that's a shock where a carefully calculated, like all these red herrings throughout a 90-minute movie, and then suddenly, oh, this is actually the killer. That's a good twist. You gotta work up to it. You can't just have like, oh, hey, let's just make Sidney the killer, because that would be shocking. No, that's just gonna piss people off at the end of the day, and maybe give them a shock for 3 seconds. Where if you calculate and build this just awesome plot line up to whoever the killer is, after all these red herrings, you think it's this guy, you think it's this girl, whatever, and then it ends up being these 3 people at the end of the movie. That's so much better than just having a mainstay character become the killer out of nowhere from nothing. Why would Sidney Prescott become the killer? There's absolutely no precedent behind that at all.
No.
Wasn't the title going to be Scream 5, The Snap?
Oh, Sidney. Scream 5, Sidney Snaps. No. Oh, one last one I'll mention that I don't want to see. I wouldn't be as harsh on this one as the first one, but I still hate it. Is that Dewey is the original mastermind of the entire franchise killings, and to me it's just horrible for many reasons. But the biggest reason is that it would just totally tarnish the first 4 films. Again, what a character we've come to love and to respect. And to think that he was behind all of that, it would ruin watching those movies. It would. I would almost have to disown Scream 5 from canon in my own canon book from the franchise and just say there's only 4 because I couldn't accept that. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I just couldn't do it. Yeah.
He's a character that like his whole thing in life is to become like he's the sheriff of Woodsboro. He's like he defends people. That's his whole thing. Like that's why he became a cop. Yeah. Why would he be this weird mastermind behind Ghostface killings and all that? That just doesn't make any. That's so far fetched, you know.
It is. I don't know. I mean, but then again, they did make Jason Goes to Space. But
Jason
that's a whole
X
nother league.
Rocks.
Jason X. That's a whole nother league. We're in a whole different league with these guys. I just had to throw that out there.
I can't wait for Scream 8 when Ghostface goes to space.
Oh no.
Ghostface on Mars.
Yeah, on Mars. Yeah. There are no Martians because Ghostface killed them all. They're not here anymore.
Well, y'all covered a lot of what I was going to, for rumors. Will Stu, Randy, or any of the old legacy come back? Cotton Weary, or because I don't know. I would love, like Steve said, for Stu to come back, or Randy. Those are my favorite. One thing I did read up, which is just a rumor, and I doubt anything will come of this, is will there be a different Ghostface version, like Ghostface Mask? Because they said there's every time that they have a Scream movie come out, they tweak the mask just a little bit. So they said there's an ultra white Ghostface mask that they were thinking about using, or a zombie version of the Ghostface mask.
Oh no!
So
no zombies.
So we don't know. We'll have to wait and see the movie, but and then Steve talked about Sidney being the killer and Dewey being their mastermind. And then Jake talking about, maybe Billy or Stu's son coming back as a killer.
Very plausible, I think.
Yeah.
Very, very possible. One of these new teenage kids in this cast are going to be one of their offspring. Very, very possible. Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
Hey, one last thing, guys, before we go to the next section here. I have to mention this, talking about Randy and Stu both. The original plan for Scream 3 was that Wes was going to have Stu be the mastermind of the killings of Scream 3, and that he had survived the Scream 1 attack from the TV, and he'd been in prison, and that he was the mastermind of prison people that were carrying out copycat killings. And that was actually going to be Scream 3 before they had to change it with the Columbine tragedy. They had to totally change the movie. So I'm saying that because in Wes's world, Stu could be alive. Wes's world, he was still. And also Randy was also going to be make an appearance in Scream 3 instead of his sister, who brings the videotape of the rules of the trilogy. Well, instead of Martha Meeks, originally they had planned on Randy showing up, and that he had survived the attacks of Scream 2. His parents had taken him into hiding and somewhere out in the boonies out in the middle of nowhere, USA. And he actually survived the attack. And they decided to not go that route. They thought it would be better to have his sister come. But just for what it's worth, guys, in Wes's world, I know he's not with us now, rest in peace, but in his mind, even Randy and Stu could be alive. So if Tyler and Matt, I'm just saying, maybe you guys are onto something. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, like we were saying earlier, like this is all for Wes. They got that hashtag going now. So if you wanted to really honor Wes Craven and resurrect an old idea of his, I think that would be pretty dope. I think that would be pretty cool. I think you could also write that in somehow where Stu has been like, you were just talking about like Randy hiding out in the middle of, middle of nowhere somewhere. You could do that with Stu for sure. Like maybe he's just been chilling somewhere, just kind of like building up strength, trying to, come back as a crazy villain or something. I don't know. That
Lots of scars.
Yeah, right. He's got scars all over his face. He can have a scene at his house where he just like takes the TV off and just kind of skedaddles out of there before all the cops show up. So who knows what'll happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's scoot into our predictions, Jake. Since you already think maybe something like that might happen. What do you
I
think?
think, I think for sure there's going to be some crazy bombshell. Maybe it's not Stu coming back. Maybe it's like Judy Hicks was actually a killer this whole time, and her and her secret son are here to murder people now, and she was actually super suspicious in Scream 4. We could have some kind of twist like that. I like, they talked about specifically that they're taking these unique risks for this new film while also still respecting the franchise, not doing anything like super crazy, just going their own direction. I think for sure it's going to be, people are going to love it. Like from the few shots we've seen of it, it looks like those older movies. I don't know what the hell was going on in the coloring department for Scream 4. That whole movie looks yellow. I don't love the way. Right. Yeah. I don't love the way Scream 4 looks from the few shots we have seen of it so far. It looks like it's already going back to that original look, that the tone of those original 3 films. I overall, I just have positive predictions for it pretty much. I love the cast. I love the crew. Radio Silence is fantastic. Like I can't say this enough. They have an amazing track record. I love everything they've done so far. The cast is great. Jack Quaid, Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera is also fantastic. We have like these little, like lesser known actors, like, Kyle Gallner's mostly famous. You got Mason Gooding is also in this. He's pretty fantastic. I think personally, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be good, whatever it's going to be. It might not have these super crazy bombshells. We might not have like Stu come back. We might not have Randy come back, but overall, I think it's going to be just a great continuation. One of the better ones out of all these movies.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
absolutely.
I kind of agree. I think there will be a huge plot twist in the movie, and maybe an unexpected killer that nobody, realizes, like in Scream 4. Who would have thought that Jill was a killer?
That was awesome. I love that.
Got me.
Yeah,
it did me too. Yeah. I was shocked. Wow.
But I think I'm kind of thinking the original cast, Dewey, Gale, and Sydney will live. And the plot twist might be, Randy or Stu come back or something, But I think it'll be great. And also, I think at the beginning there will be an opening kill scene, but it will probably be unexpected, like it was in Scream 4. Where they were showing and stab 7 and 8 or whatever,
6 and 7,
6 and 7 at the very beginning, and then it shows the real killing. So I think they'll try to do something unexpected, but there will be an original kill scene at the beginning. What about you, Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, so really, I'm on board with you guys. Really, I don't have a lot to add to your predictions. I think they're spot on with where I'm kind of expecting it to go. So Mike, you just mentioned now that you think that there will be an opening kill. So let's go on the record, guys. So Mike just went on record saying yes. Now, Jake, on the record for your predictions, will this open up with an opening kill in the tradition of the first 4, or are they going to break the mold and not have an opening kill and save it for a later scene for the first kill? What's your prediction? Opening kill, yes or no?
So I definitely think we're doing an opening kill. Like, we got to reestablish that this is a Scream film once again. What is so notable about the Scream franchise? Drew Barrymore getting murdered in the first 10 minutes of that movie. Like, that was so shocking back in 1996. They advertised it as her as the star, and they killed her off at the beginning. You had no idea where the movie was going after that. That was so brilliant. I think they're going to at least try to recreate that magic. I don't think it's going to top the original film. That's just my opinion. I think it's going to be a great sequel. I don't think it's going to top the original movie because it has such a legacy in the horror universe. I mean, it changed horror movies forever. It revitalized the genre. You're not going to get better than that original film. But is it going to try and do something very similar to that, and just shock audiences with some crazy kill right at the beginning of the movie? Yeah, for sure. I think we're definitely going to get a really good opening kill, probably that's going to be better than the other sequels even.
Yeah, I agree. I think there will be an opening kill. We're all in agreement there. And I think it will be on par with the original as far as, or like you said, close to reaching the level of intensity of that first one. So I think that we're going to know a lot in the first 10, 11 minutes of this movie where we're going with it. And so, yes, we all agree. Opening kill is our prediction. Last prediction for the movie, I'll throw out on the table. Mike, I'll ask you first, and you may have mentioned it a bit earlier, but that's okay. Tell us again. will one of the legacy cast, I'm talking about the big three, and I'll throw Judy Hicks in there too. Will one of those four be killed in Scream 5?
Well, since Jake brought it up, I think that Judy Hicks might be the first kill. So I will say Sydney, Dewey, and Gail will not die. I can't talk about Judy though, because she might be the first one that dies, or she might be the murderer. So
it's funny, she could be the killer or she could be the first kill. It's like that's what you want in a Scream movie. I had no idea.
Yep.
Jake, what do you think, man? Will one of the four legacy cast be killed?
I don't see, like, now we keep going back and forth with this stuff. I'm like, man, I'm kind of leaning towards Judy being the killer now, because I don't know.
I know.
I could definitely see Martha Meeks being the opening kill, because we have two of the other cast members are her kids. So it would be like kind of cool to, like, not cool. I mean, it would be terrible. It's a tragedy if she were to die in the opening scene, to see how her kids were affected by that later in the movie. Yes. I think that would actually greatly affect the plot line. Would be really interesting if we went that route, and you kill a not as surprising as like some other characters on this list that we have, but it would be shocking enough to bring that character back just for that opening scene. I think that would work for me. I would be pleased with that as the opening kill, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I don't know necessarily one of the big three getting murdered. I don't think that's going to be the opening kill personally. I think they're going to respect Wes's legacy. They're not going to like spit on those movies like you were saying. Yeah. But could they kill Martha Meeks in that first scene? For sure. Someone else, like a bigger cast member like Jenna Ortega, maybe too. That's a big maybe too. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you think they'll kill any of the legacy characters at all in the movie?
I think if they have a trilogy deal, like if this movie does really well, I think they might have plans to possibly do it in a Scream 6 or Scream 7. I don't think they'll kill them in the franchise relaunch though. No.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you want to show that respect, and I think that you do that by saying, hey guys, our legacy, our big three, they're going to make it. They're not, we're not, like you say, it's almost shooting yourself in the foot or stabbing yourself in the foot if you were to do that in a lot of ways. And like you say, I could almost be more forgiving if they do a sixth one and someone goes, I could be like, okay, you know what? I understand it can't last forever. We all pass away at some point. Obviously not hopefully as viciously as a Scream movie, but my point is I could deal with that versus this one. So I think you're onto something, Jake. I agree with you on that as well. I think the big three all survive. I think that Martha Meeks is in play, and I think Judy Hicks is in play to be killed. They could possibly be killed. And the other thing too, real quick, what would bring Sydney back to Woodsboro after all of these nightmares? And wouldn't it be something if it was Randy's sister getting killed?
And that's a friend of hers too, like if a friend of hers died, she'd be like, okay, well, I gotta figure this out,
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, she comes back and says, talk to I can't talk, Dewey. It's like, we got to figure out what happened. We gotta get these people or this person or whatever. So anyway, good stuff, guys. That's really good stuff. Well, guys, this has been fantastic talking about Scream and Scream 5. And I want to transition now, Jake, to talk about another cool film called Red Right Hand. And guys, for those of you who are watching and don't know this, Jake has just finished completing his fan film. It's an original film called Red Right Hand. It's an original Scream film.
Nice.
Now, Jake, yes. Now, without giving away spoilers, Jake, let us know. Tell us about this movie. What can you leak about your film here? Breaking story that you haven't leaked anywhere else.
I can give you like a little tiny bits and pieces, because man, I'm like, okay. I'll tell you this, we're halfway through editing it, and we're already talking about what are we gonna do for the trailer without giving too much away, because there's so many, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's like gonna be about only like 10 to 12 minutes. Like, it's a short film, it's nothing super crazy. But there's like so many twists and turns. Like I've been working on this since January, so it's like it's pretty complex. Wow. It's pretty crazy. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm so excited to drop it. we don't know what to do for a trailer. Like we're like, okay, maybe like 15 seconds of Ghostface running around. That's the only shot where we're not giving something away. So it's like, it's impossible for me to really elaborate on what it's going to be about. But I will say this. A bunch of other horror YouTubers are going to make cameos at some point in it. I can't say what. No. I can't say what, but it's something. It's a big joke. It's something really funny that I'm really excited to include in the movie at some point. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, you're going to see Ghostface doing a lot of killing. I'm going to say that too. I don't want to give anything else away because I don't want to spoil it. I want it to be a shock.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, as a Scream influenced movie should be. It should be a surprise. And guys, you know, UCIC below, we have the image, the first image that Jake has released of Ghostface from Red Right Hand. So that's a little picture there to whet your appetites, guys, of what's to come. And Jake, do you have a projected drop date yet, or is it still a bit too early?
So we're thinking, yeah, I mean, like the film's pretty much done at this point. I guess I can say this. We're thinking first week of October. So like the first 2 days of October, I believe, are like Friday and Saturday, but like that next week, probably that Friday, which I believe is October 8th is going to be the release date. Ooh. So that's the first time I'm saying that. There you go.
There we go.
There's something spicy. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be the release date for the film. If you support me on Patreon, you'll be able to see it a day early too. So
ooh, nice.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, Jake, you also have a YouTube channel called Killjoy Jake, and we love the tagline you say when you begin your videos. When you say, "Instead of friends, I have horror movies."
I love that.
And so, if you look at the link below, you'll go to your channel. What can the viewers expect when they go to your when they visit your channel?
Well, I love Scream. You know, I talk about the upcoming movie a lot. I also cover a bunch of other upcoming horror films. Like I talk about Halloween Kills. I talk about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I just recently covered Don't Breathe 2. I did a review on that. Did a big video on that. I talk about a bunch of obscure stuff too, you know, like other stuff that isn't being talked about too much, unfortunately. Like this film, it's an indie film that came out earlier this year called Benny Loves You. It's a really weird movie about a little teddy bear that murders people. I loved it. I'm like, why are more people not talking about this? It's crazy. So I try to shed light on some more obscure stuff as well. I just a variety of crazy upcoming horror topics. That's what I like to talk about there. Hopefully, if you like that, then go subscribe.
Excellent.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all need to do that, man. When this video is done here, look in the description. It's right there. We'll have his link to his channel, here in the description. Spend some time there. He posts a lot of great content, and he posts it very often. So you're never going to be bored on Jake's channel, man. It is always material to watch. So be sure you guys go there, subscribe to his channel. Be sure you drop him a comment too, and let him know that you found him from the Screamfest. That would be great for all of us to know. Well, listen, guys, this has been a blast. Jake, I want to say thank you so much for joining us and closing out Screamfest. This was absolutely a joy tonight.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure talking with y'all.
As well. All right, guys. Once again, this is Steven.
This is Michael. We are the Movie Bros and our special guest, Killjoy Jake.
See you guys.